Welcome to the Money Mindful podcast, where money mindset and life coach Meaghan Jean Smith, hey, that's me, teaches you how to transform your relationship to money and achieve your life goals so you can live a glorious, magnificent, delicious, awesome life and love being you. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Money Mindful podcast. I am your host, Meaghan Jean Smith. I'm a money mindset and life coach for women. I help you create an amazing life and love being you and transform your relationship with money. If you want help with any of those things, you are in the right place. All right, let's get into it. I'm just going to give you a warning that I might get a bit ranty on this episode, okay? Because I'm talking about how to take the stress out of managing your money in business. And I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with. And I get a little bit crazy when I talk to people about this because I just see people struggling with their financial admin, and they don't need to. So when you think of financial admin in your business or your personal life and it makes you want to gouge your eyes out, you are in the right place today because I am going to help you, all right? Because basically the problem is when it comes to money management is that many of us, we don't have a system, okay? And not only that, we believe that it's hard. Like we have a belief that managing your money is difficult, financial admin is a burden, it's a terrible, horrible, boring thing to do, it's complicated, it's hard, right? We have all these beliefs around what financial admin is like, not only in business, but in our personal life, right? Now, in Australia, we've just come to the end of a financial year and we're starting a new financial year. So I thought this would be a perfect time to just get you set up for the new year, okay? It's a new financial year and I want to help you take the stress out of managing your money in business. So, how did we get onto this? Well, I have a colleague of mine and, she was sharing with me that financial admin for her is a real burden and it takes up a lot of her time and she feels really stressed about it. And when we started talking about it, I sort of asked her, like, what are you doing? How are you managing your money in business? And this colleague of mine, she's quite successful. She's doing really well in her business. She's registered for GST. Now, in Australia, if you're making over $75,000 a year, you must be registered for GST. That's like a tax we have here in Australia. But it's an additional accounting administration task on top of just your regular administrative tasks, right? And anyway, this colleague of mine was telling me that she hasn't done any of her accounting all year. So it's now the end of the year and she is now having to deal with a whole year, like 12 months worth of receipts and expenses. First of all, girlfriend, no. That is a hard no. Please don't do that to yourself, okay? So this is solution number one. Put aside a time once a month to attend to your financial admin, whether that is in your personal life or whether that is in your business. Because, mate, who wants to go through 1 year's worth of receipts at the end of the year? No, thank you. Oh my gosh, that makes me feel like I want to stab myself in the eye and roll over in bed and die. I mean, that is terrible. Please don't do that to yourself. And if that is you, also, I'm not judging you. Listen, I am 100% confident that you are doing the absolute best job that you know how to do. And this is what this episode is about today, giving you a new perspective and a new way to look at handling your financial admin so you don't feel like gouging your eyes out when it comes to tax time and your financial admin. Let's get you set up properly for the new year. Now, also, I just want to make a point of saying, listen, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not advising you what to do financially. I'm giving you suggestions of things that you can look into doing, which are overall general ideas, right? There's no one right way to do this, but you can definitely make financial admin simpler. And I'm going to help you do that in this podcast. So, first thing is have some sort of system that you do once a month where you record all your receipts and you have somewhere to store that information. So think about your expenses throughout the year, whether it be personal or in business. You're going to have receipts that you pay for online. You're going to have actual physical receipts when you go to a shop and you receive a receipt in your hand. So that those need to be recorded once a month in some sort of system, which I'll go into in a minute, where those expenses are recorded. So once that month has passed, all those expenses are recorded, it's handled, you don't have to think about it again, okay? And you do that every month so that when it's time to do your quarterly statements with your tax accountant or when you do it at the end of the year, you've already been doing it each month throughout the year. And so you eliminate the overwhelm, okay? Because you're only dealing with 1 month's worth of receipts at a time, okay? So that's one thing. Okay, next. So just going back to this colleague of mine, she was telling me how she was trying to record everything on an Excel spreadsheet, including all the GST elements, like what GST she had to pay. And oh my gosh, I just, no. All right, listen. If you don't have a business and you're just doing personal accounting, an Excel spreadsheet is perfectly fine, okay? Or maybe if you're in the first couple of months of getting a business off the ground and you don't have a lot of expenses or income at the moment, Excel spreadsheet is acceptable. However, if you are serious, like if you have a serious business where you are serious about making money and serious about having this business for the long term, and when I mean serious, I mean this isn't a hobby, all right? You're not just tinkering around doing a little hobby on the side, like a little side hustle where it's like, wouldn't it be fun to make a little bit of extra money? I'm just going to do this on the side. That's different. But if you are legit, have a business that is your primary source of income, or you are legitimately creating a business that you are like, this is it, this is for real, this is the real deal, you must get some kind of accounting software, okay? You just must. You are not going to be tinkering around on an Excel spreadsheet when we're talking about managing the finances of a business. No. Absolutely no. You've got to get accounting software. And I know in the beginning that can feel like, but that's an expense that I can't justify when I can be recording this on an Excel spreadsheet. And this is exactly what my colleague said. She was like, but I don't think I can justify having an accounting software. And then I was like, well, how long is it going to take you to record all your receipts for the year? And I mean, she's already spent more than a day doing this, and she still is potentially going to spend another day. And it's like, how much money can you make in 2 days? And are you still telling me that accounting software isn't worth investing in? Because here's the thing. So many of us find financial admin such a burden, but then the problem is we don't actually do anything to make it easier for ourselves, right? So I just want to share some things that I do, not because it's the only way or the right way, but just to give you a perspective. So I use an accounting software. I use the accounting software Xero. I'm not sponsoring it or affiliated with it in any way. That's just the accounting software that my accountant recommended to me, because I asked my accountant. This is what I suggest you do too, like talk to your accountant, especially because I'm in Australia and I know that I have people listening to this podcast all over the world. So I've got no clue what your rules and regulations are in your country. And that's why I strongly suggest that you talk to your own financial accounting people, right? And ask them, like, what's a good software to use? So my accountant recommended that I use Xero. Now, listen, I get it about the cost of getting an accounting software, because when I first started my business and I approached an accountant, at that time, I'd only made $20,000 in my business, right? Like, that's not a lot of income. And so to pay for a service every month to deal with my finances felt like, ooh, do I really need to be outputting this money? And I want to suggest yes, okay? If you are serious about your business and growing your business. If it's just a hobby and you're tinkering away, then probably not, okay? But when you get accounting software, this is how it simplifies your life. Like, I want to share with you what happens with me. So basically, I have accounting software that stores all my accounting information, but then I also have an app, a receipt collecting app, which is called Dext. And again, these are apps that are in Australia. I'm sure that you have amazing apps like this in your own country. And I'm sure in Australia we have more than just these two apps. I'm just sharing what I use, okay? But basically, this Dext app, if it's a physical receipt, I put it down on my desk. I can take a photo of it, and the app extracts all the information, like the GST I've paid, where I made the purchase, what the expense was, and then my accountant has set up all these codes for me that I can just quickly select, oh yes, this was a stationary cost, or this was, something that I bought for one of my clients, or whatever, right? And then I can also just email electronic receipts into Dext, and it gets all the information, and then it's integrated with my bank account. So it even can recognize, oh, yes, we see that this matches a transaction in your bank account. Is this a match? Would you like us to connect this transaction in your bank account with this receipt? And I can just click and say yes. And then I just hit publish, and it goes straight across to Xero, my accounting software. And then my accounting software is all linked up to my business bank accounts. And inside Xero, it says, ooh, this looks like we've found a match. We've got a receipt for this, and we can see this amount has come out of your bank account. Do these two match? And again, I just get to say, yep, they match. Good, thank you. And I mean, I'm not even kidding you. It's that easy. Like, my financial admin is so simple, and I just do this once a month. I just go through, make sure all my receipts are uploaded. I check on my accounting software that everything that is in my bank account feed is accounted for. Like, sometimes I'll notice that, I've had an expense and I realize, oh, whoops, I haven't uploaded the receipt for that. Oh, I better do that, right? And when it comes to tax time, this is how easy it is for me to do my tax. I print off my bank statements to send to my accountant. My accountant has full access to my accounting software, and I only send the statements because she wants me to, because she wants to just double check. Yep, everything adds up. And that's it. It's done. Because all throughout the year, as I get a receipt, I just scan it into the receipt app and, publish it across to my accounting software, and then it's all there. And at a glance, at any point in time, I can look at my accounting software. I can see exactly how much I've spent. I can see exactly what my gross revenue is. I can get even an estimate of what my tax is going to be. Like, It's just so easy. And I'm not trying to plug these software things that I'm using, but I'm just trying to say, make it easy for yourself. Oh my goodness. Like, no wonder you can't stand doing it, right? And no wonder it's such a headache, because you're struggling to type all this stuff in on an Excel spreadsheet and do the maths yourself and work it all out. And I'm just like, no, hard no. Do not do that to yourself. Get a system that is easy to do. And yes, I'm not going to lie, in the beginning, it can feel a bit overwhelming. I felt overwhelmed when my accountant was setting all this Xero stuff up. I was like, oh my goodness, how do I use this software? I don't know what to do. But you learn, right? Like, you get it and then you learn what to do. And I mean, on top of that, if you have the finances, you can pay a bookkeeper and get a bookkeeper to do that. Okay, and the final thing I would say is make sure your business accounts and your personal accounts are separate, and never, ever, ever cross those two over. All right, this is especially for you if you are new in business. Do not do business and do things from your personal account. You need to set up a separate business bank account. Okay, and there's even different ways that you can set up your accounts and have multiple accounts for different areas of your finances in your business. But I'm not going to talk about that in this episode because I don't want to overload you with information. And I've talked about that in previous episodes about how to set up your accounts following the Profit First system to make it easy. Maybe I'll see if I can put a link in the show notes to those past episodes if you're interested. Okay, so in summary, when it comes to financial admin, if you feel like you want to gouge your eyes out, it's highly probable that you probably don't have a system for managing it, you believe it's hard, and you don't do it regularly, right? So these are the things that I suggest you do. Have a system for managing your expenses. If it's your personal expenses and you don't have a business, an Excel spreadsheet where you record your expenses throughout the year is fine. And also but go into an apps thing and just search for expense. I'm trying to think of the search word that you would put in, but there's lots of apps that you can get that manage your expenses, right? Like where you can type in your expenses and it records it. And so you've got a record of it and you can just keep adding to that throughout the year. That's if you're just doing personal finance. But if you're in business, get some sort of accounting software. Because the other thing is you don't want to have to be doing all these calculations yourself, like tapping away at a calculator trying to work this stuff out. Like, just get an accounting software that does it all for you, okay? So much easier. Then have some sort of system for managing your receipts. Like, have an envelope or a little small filing folder for your receipts that you collect and record once a month. Do it once a month minimum. That's only 12 times a year you've got to do it. And then it will completely take the overwhelm out of the end of the year when it's tax time. Okay. And finally, make sure your bank accounts for business and personal are separate. You must have those separate. And on a final note, don't take my word for it. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my experience and what I do. Seek counsel from your own accounting expert in your country, all right? That's what they're qualified to do, to help you to do your accounting and set up simple systems. You know, I'm only using Xero because that's what my accountant advised me to do, right? I'd never even heard of the receipt app Dext. It used to be called Receipt Bank, I think. My accountant told me about it, right? And I'm paying them because they've gone to university and trained. They are a professional in that area. So I ask for their advice, I ask for their counsel, and then most of the time I follow it if it suits me and my business needs. And it has made managing the money in my business so much easier. And just a final point is that, you know, if you want to have an amazing relationship with money, part of that is being a amazing custodian of your money, right? Really looking after the money that you have, like not ignoring it all year and then just being overwhelmed and trying to work out all your receipts at the end of the year, like connecting with your money throughout the year and recording your expenses and taking care of that. And yes, sometimes it's not the most exciting thing to do, but when we care about something and when we have a good relationship with something, we put in that effort, right? We take the time to look after our money. It's just like our kids, right? How many things do you do for your kids that just make you want to, gouge your eyes out? But you do it because you love them. And that's what you do because you care about your children and you're an amazing custodian and parent of your children, right? Same with money. If you want to have a good relationship with money, look after it. All right, that's all I got for you today. Until I get in your ears again next week, have an amazing week. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. Ready to take the next steps? Creating your money and life goals can be super challenging if you don't have a process to follow. Get my free course that will help you get unstuck, clarify your goals, and get you going. For more info, go to meaghanjsmith.au.